check out ESPN Film's newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. So I was on my way to leave out the house today and get ready to come to work, stop for some lunch, all that. You know how it is. And then it dawned on me as soon as I had left, man, I hadn't made any preparations for the eclipse. Everybody had been talking about the eclipse. I didn't really actually know when the eclipse was, and then people told me that the eclipse was today, and I'd heard about something like a path of totality. I thought everybody got the path of totality. Then I looked it up and saw that really only people who lived in places I have no desire to live in got the path of totality. And I got to say, not a fair trade. Not a fair trade. Like, I missed the full darkness of the eclipse, perhaps. Yeah, not trying to live where the sun was going, at least as far as I could tell. No, I did not do that part of it, but it was wild, man. I come out here, man, everybody trying to be part of history, I suppose. Had all these jokers just standing around in the streets of New York City out here with the eclipse coming, with these glasses that they spend money on. And Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, when these glasses hitting folk for like $10, $15?
Yeah, for some folks, depending on where you got them, 10, 15, yeah.
You had to feel like you got, really? You paid $10 to $15 for these?
Some people did.
Yo, you got. That's all I'm saying, is that you got if you pay $15 for it. Because, I mean, I guess that allowed you to look directly at what this celestial event was, as opposed to just kind of dealing with the fact like, whoa, it's crazy dark outside. And it was amazing, because I feel like as a society in this era of the smartphone and everyone having content that is so personalized, we have lost the value of the commune, right? Like, we have lost the value of the idea of all watching a television show together, because we don't have to watch the television show together. But there's something to be said about everybody getting together the next day, because we all watched the television show together. We all knew that it was coming. Like, there's something to that. And the eclipse was something that everybody could do together. And so on one hand, I'm like, yay for the commune. On the other hand, I walked outside and saw them people looking up at the sun with them 3D glasses for the movie, and I'm like, man, y'all look like a bunch of dorks. And that was just my whole thought as I went out there. Everybody out here trying to get themselves ready for the eclipse. And, you know, I think I got in here about 1:30, 1:35, somewhere in there, and I saw some people outside kind of like, you know, getting their eclipse on. All right, you know, it's whatever. And then about 2:30, I was set to talk to Shannon about what was going on the show. So I went outside. I figured, hey, the eclipse here was supposed to be at 2:44. And so I came outside. Guys, you want to know something that is like a whole lot like an eclipse, but not quite as eventful? A cloudy day. You know what we got just in time for this moment here? Cloudy day. Wasn't a cloudy day before. Wasn't a cloudy day when I was walking around and it was hot as hell. No. Wasn't a cloudy day then. But when it was time for this eclipse, it was all clouds.
You know, I got to give a special shout out, though, especially with you in New York, with all the folks, the street hustlers out there selling these knockoff eclipse glasses. Because as a purchaser, if you're buying them, how do you know that they're knockoffs? You won't know until you know, right?
Well, I mean, I do feel like if the man is selling you glasses and incense at the same time, there's a distinct possibility that these are not licensed by the Food and Drug Administration or whoever it is that licenses these sorts of things. But I found the eclipse over here to be a little bit of a bummer. Pink Floyd's eclipse, greater than this eclipse. I'm looking at it now, man. People got these pictures up of them catching the clouds right when the eclipse was supposed to come. America losing all kinds of productivity right now because the clouds came. That was it. The clouds came. I feel cheated. When the next one's supposed to come around, Shannon? What they say, 99 years?
One like that, yeah, around that time.
I don't think I'm going to live that long. But, like, what if I went to one of them Ted Williams camps and was just like, yo, just save it till we get one of these eclipses. and then just let me come back and see that, and then I can go peacefully. Because I feel like now I'm never going to have this again in my life. Like, I feel like I got robbed. Like, what was it like at y'all's offices? How was it when the eclipse came around? I saw a whole lot of people getting to know their coworkers that they had never spoken to ever before. Because, see, I don't really have coworkers, like, not in like your typical sense. So I imagine that for some of y'all, it's like, damn, we all got to go out here together, don't we? Maybe I can go across the street to the bodega and then watch it over there.
But see, what made this great, though, is normally you would have that awkward conversation with these coworkers. Now you have something unifying the two. So instead of just asking the generic, well, isn't some crazy weather we're having, you already have the solar eclipse to talk about. It's a built-in icebreaker.
Except the problem is having something to talk about sometimes means you have to talk to them about it, which is not necessarily what it is that people are out here looking for. Also, the eclipse ruined the Instagram. Have you gone on the Instagram today, Shannon? Go on the Instagram right now. It is the same picture over and over again with different people. Yes, you got eclipse glasses. You are not the only one to get eclipse glasses. All it is pictures of people in eclipse glasses. And I need to be honest with you. Some of y'all, I don't follow you to look at your glasses. Right? Not like you are obligated to give me what I showed up here for. But, like, we're not dorks like that. We don't care that much. Half of y'all don't even know what a damn eclipse is. I'm fairly confident I know what this was. Shannon, this is the one where the moon going in front of the sun, right?
That is correct, yes.
Woo! There we go. There we go. Did you see Buzz Aldrin on the Twitter when he stunned on people? Where he said, I guess I realized that I have seen this eclipse. Every time I was behind the moon, it was an eclipse. And I feel like, yo, man, that really wasn't classy at all of you. I feel like you ain't accomplished nothing since.
Like, he went big bank on all of us.
Yeah, like, I mean, granted, going to the moon's a pretty significant accomplishment, but I feel like Buzz Aldrin went real Al Bundy on us right there, letting us know that he scored 4 touchdowns. Oh, no, not in one season, but in one game. Now, granted, for Buzz, that game was going to the moon, but, so can we count that like it's 12 touchdowns? Is that kind of what it is? Because I do feel like he kind of Al Bundy with it about that. Whole lot of people seem to get cloud cover during their eclipsical moment. Oh, Shannon, they said there's going to be another one like this in 2024. What the hell we out here wasting all our time for?
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Yeah.
Like, they made it seem like this is a once-in-a-lifetime event.
You know who made it seem like that? Not to get all conspiracy theorists on you, but somebody had to get the bright idea to sell all these eclipse glasses, right? They ain't just produced these things overnight. There was a long-out plan on we gonna sell people these glasses for this eclipse. They couldn't just come up with the inventory for that like in a week. Nobody had no bright eureka moment. What the brand name on these? Where people order these from? These stores. Like, who's the person that went to these stores and was like, you know what y'all need? Eclipse glasses. Who did that? Who did that? I believe that we have been hoodwinked and bamboozled.
Trying to tell you, you get your eclipse glasses and your incense. One-stop shop.
Although I will say, though, whoever got the bright idea to sell these eclipse glasses that's a brilliant businessman right there. I need to find whoever that person happened to be, because they convinced everybody that they needed these things they absolutely did not need and charged $10 to $15 for them. That's, I think, the best part is that they charge people that much money for them. Come on, man, that should be like a $5 purchase. Like, how much you think it costs to put together? Them damn things is just the tint off your windows with no windows put inside some cardboard. Like, somebody look up what it is that makes those better than just a pair of shades. I'm just curious. And on top of it, why are you looking at the sun directly anyway? Why that seem like a good idea to you? Why? For who? For what? But that's who got us, man. Somebody out here making millions of dollars off these eclipse glasses. They're the ones that got us all charged up, running outside. For nothing. For not a damn thing. Or maybe it was better where you live. All we got is clouds. Yeah, I'm hating. Hey, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, why the Indiana Pacers out here snitching? Find out what they snitching about on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Peter Vezzi will join us next segment. Peter Vezzi will join us at 4:30 Eastern. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. And time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. All right, so tampering. It's this thing that happens in the NBA. It happens with everybody pretty much. That being said, tampering is very, very difficult to prove, right? I mean, this is just one of those things. There's so many different levels of tampering that go on, man. People got enough agents and everything else. And part of it with the agent game is team got to talk to an agent just to do regular business. And then, while they on the phone, you know what I'm saying? We can't talk about this, but, if there was this one thing, you know what I'm saying? And then, and everything else. So you wind up in that situation. Now, the Lakers had themselves a little interesting issue. And their thing is Magic is the man who's in charge there. And Magic a little bit new to the game, at least in this way. And Magic, this is Magic on Jimmy Kimmel Live in April.
Who are you looking for? Paul George? Is it Chris Paul are you looking at? Maybe Teen Wolf? Do you remember him? He was really good.
I wish I could talk about all those guys.
But you'd be contract tampering now.
Exactly.
Did you have, when you started this job, did they sit you down and say, okay, so here are some things you have to know? You can't do an interview and say you want the specific player.
That's right.
And did you have to learn?
Yeah, I had to go to school. I had to go to CBA school, salary cap school, and tampering school.
What constitutes tampering? Like if you're on vacation and you run into Paul George, are you not allowed to speak to him?
No, we're going to say hi because we know each other.
I see.
You just can't say, hey, I want you to come to the Lakers, even though I'm going to be winking like, you know what that means, right?
You know what that means, right? Magic, I am sure that is not what they taught you in tampering school. I am positive in tampering school, they told you that the first rule of tampering school is don't talk about tampering school. And Magic went on TV talking about it. Also, on a related note, Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy Kimmel's on there sounding like the feds.
Yeah, I was kind of interested with his line of questioning there. Come on, Jimmy.
Yeah, like you was trying to get Magic into some level of trouble. You ain't going to last in L.A. for very long, Jimmy. Yeah, you've been there about 15 years, but you ain't going to last out there very long out here trying to walk Magic up to the brink of doing something like this. Come on, man, you sound like the feds. Anyway, the Pacers have lodged a complaint about the Lakers tampering with Paul George, which, we'd all have to acknowledge is snitching. And not only is it snitching, by the way, it's the pettiest form of snitching. And I say that it's the pettiest form of snitching because he's already gone. He doesn't play for y'all anymore. He plays for Oklahoma City. There's no chance that Paul George is going to wind up being an Indiana Pacer. He's not leaving the Pacers to go straight to the Lakers. So why y'all out here snitching, right? Like, never mind the fact that it's hard to prove this, but if they did do something and then Paul George couldn't go to the Lakers, you just out here like, are you doing this to Paul George or are you doing this to the Lakers? Which one? Because there's no way to look at this and not think they out here trying to do something to somebody, right? And again, this is difficult. Here's Adrian Wojnarowski talking to Randy Scott on the 11 a.m. Sports Center.
If it was shown that there was an agreement in place, a side deal for Paul George to sign with the Lakers once he became a free agent next year, they could restrict the Lakers from either trading for him this year or signing him in free agency. But that is a very unlikely scenario. There is a tremendous burden of proof. It is hard to prove tampering, and that's why it is rarely investigated in the league, and in rare instances have there really been anybody caught and there being severe penalties.
So, again, this is just a petty level of snitching. Ramona Shelburne was on Outside the Lines with Bob Lee. And basically for the Lakers, man, it's just getting on their nerves.
The fact that they're even looking into this and that they have access to all your records, that is a cause for concern, and especially on something as high profile as this, because, as you know, this is a front office that's just getting going and has a lot going for it right now with some of the excitement they have about Lonzo Ball and other free agents they could potentially be in position to get.
Yeah, man, just a little annoying. Just a little bit annoying. So, what's going to happen? What are they really going to do? Do we care about this if it doesn't have Magic Johnson's name in it? Shanny, you say no.
We would care if it was the Lakers, but adding the Magic Johnson element makes this salacious.
Yeah,
it's Magic now.
Yeah, and also let me tell you this too, right? Them folks in L.A., by and large, laid-back people. But if the NBA somehow stopped them from getting Paul George, this, it's been a while, but after basketball reasons, they going to take to the streets, dog. They going to march right up to the Staples Center, and it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem.
Going back to that Chris Paul for basketball reasons, when the league blocked the Chris Paul trade, that's the example I bring up when people talk about the NBA and their conspiracy and they only want the good teams. If that was the case, the Lakers would have allowed the Chris Paul trade.
Well, except don't forget, though, the league had allowed it, and then old hating Dan Gilbert sent that email to David Stern and was like, yo, this is what we was trying to shut down. And then next thing you know, David Stern came out there with the basketball reasons. Like, I wonder if it ain't that weak, if that ever happens.
But you think David Stern has any back down in him at all?
No, but he does work for these owners, though. And what did happen over the course of time with Stern was that the owners that were in the league after a point had put in a lot more dough, and they wanted a return on their dough. They weren't just coming in and taking David Stern's word for stuff. They were coming in and trying to tell David Stern what to do. And that's what we wound up with Dan Gilbert on that one. But now Lakers fans ain't going to take this kindly at all. My question, though, on the Lakers. So let's say the Lakers get Paul George but don't get LeBron James. How good do you wind up being? Because we have seen that you can be good enough with Paul George as your best player to make it to the conference finals, right? Like, you can be good enough with Paul George as your best player to be one game away from the NBA finals and take 3 games from the Miami Heat with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Like, we saw that. And that was with Paul George not being as good a player as he is now. But how good are the Lakers if they just get Paul George and not LeBron James? Like, what's the plan on guy number 3? Because we're not exactly sure that LeBron's going to go there. I feel like LeBron's going to wind up in Los Angeles because I just feel like I've been burned too many times by thinking LeBron wasn't going to go somewhere that it seemed like he probably going to wind up going. I ain't falling for that doke again. The doke is not coming here. But if all the Lakers get is Paul George, like, I don't feel like that's not the same thing as signing Shaq. Is that fair to say? It's not the same thing as drafting Magic. Hell, I'm not even sure it's the same thing as drafting James Worthy. By the way, have they made a big free agent signing since Shaq? There hasn't been a splash since Shaq, has there? Like, this would be a new thing. Now, granted, there ain't but so many teams that's going to make but so many splash signings. But they haven't done this in a while. I just don't know if Paul George is that much. Like, I think for the Lakers, Paul George showing up will wind up making fans feel all right because the last couple of years they thought somebody was going to come play with Kobe. And, nah, bro. That wasn't the plan. Nobody wanted to do that. Nobody wanted to watch Kobe shoot 35%. Nobody did. Shannon, would you like to get in some pot shot on Kobe while you have the opportunity?
No, it was too easy. It was too easy.
Okay, I'll give you another chance. By the way, so you guys know, in honor of the eclipse, we're going to have Unblock Me Bo today. So what you need to do is call 888-729-3776. Once you do that, call in, tell the homie Nuno what it was that you did to get blocked, and then at 6 p.m., we're going to have the segment where somebody winds up getting unblocked. They're even going to let them talk on the phone about it so they can, try to convince me that they didn't mean to do what they knew damn well they meant to do. 888-729-3776. DJ Mike Hitman, what's going on?
Hey, Bo, let me explain something to you. I believe he did tamper. And let me tell you something about tamper. Tampering just ain't about getting a ball player. It's about messing with somebody else's woman. When your back turns, you see how he winked his eye? I got you, baby. Come with me. That's tamper. I don't trust him. I would never trust Magic Johnson. He just getting out the violation of code that if you got a fine woman, he going to try to tamper with it by winking his eyes at you, knowing you looking good. My name is Matt. Come on, Bo. You know he tampered with her. Because anybody was on Jimmy Kimmel wink like that, he try to get a woman. That ain't no wink to try to talk to a man. Men shake hands like, call me, bro, or bust fist. That's a wink to get to a woman. And, yeah, he tampered. I don't trust Magic. Fan him.
Mike, how you decide Magic just a dirty Mac, man?
Let me tell you something, Bo. I was on a boat, right? And I was on my boat party. And my girl looking good. Just the first thing y'all say, hey, you got a nice looking. You don't say those things. See, Bo, you don't say those things. A man always try to brainwash by saying things you shouldn't do. Magic is the type of guy, my name is Magic, babe. I got money. I don't know what he got, but I got money. That's tampering. You ain't got to say much, Bo. He's a crook, and that's how he get his women. He went with Cookie. Okay, yeah, he got Cookie, but he could get any other woman by blinking his ass out by just saying the name of Magic. And when you see a cat like that, Bo, you got to watch him. You got to watch him because they will get yours. But if you got game, he can't get nothing but get played. Have a good one, Bo.
All right, Mike. Glad the boat party went all right for Mike. Shadow, why do you have your head in your hands?
Because it made all the sense in the world. Mike's logic made all the sense in the world. Because now I looked at that clip of Magic doing that wink. Totally different now.
Hey, man. Straight Talk Wireless. Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. All right, coming up next, how much did Magic's interview with Jimmy Kimmel factor into Indiana's decision to get this tampering thing cracking? We'll talk to Peter Vezzi about that on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just like our next guest, covers the NBA. You may have heard of him once or twice. His name is Peter Vezzi. Now, Peter, when did you first get wind that the Pacers wanted to file these tampering charges against the Lakers for Paul George?
About 5 minutes before I wrote it. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I mean, I can see that. I guess for one, it seems why are the Pacers so intent upon this when they didn't have any chance to keep Paul George in the first place? He's gone already. It seems kind of odd that they would make a decision to push this, other than just because they're mad.
Why do you say that? I mean, they were forced, they were coerced to trade him for less value than he's worth. Everybody killed him for the trade they made. That's ridiculous, also. But, yeah, I mean, if they think and if they can prove that the Lakers, had tortious interference with a contracted player, like any other contract in that situation, if you interfere with it, you are liable for something. And, they might be able to get a draft pick out of this. And they might be able to force the league to suspend Magic Johnson, a Genie Bust, and Palinka and the trainer and whatever. They might, so yeah, he was gone, but when you start announcing stuff that I'm not signing next year, and the player can do this. I'm not going someplace. I'm not coming back. I want to play for the Lakers. Damn well the Lakers have said something to him that he knows exactly what's available to him. He knows he's going to. Am I going to get a max contract? Yeah, we'll give you a max contract. Something went on underhand. Come on, logically.
All right. Even talking logically, we're talking to Peter Vezzi. The idea that they were coerced, at least from here, seems like a stretch. And the reason I say it seems like a stretch is even before Magic took the job, we were hearing that Paul George was going to play for the Lakers. I know I was hearing it as far back as the All-Star break that he was going to play for the Lakers. So were they really coerced?
Hearing it, and then having your player and his agent come out and say it when there's still a year left on his contract, when there is room to negotiate with 29 teams, that's being coerced. Yeah, it is. It really is. Well, whatever, it is. So, I mean, you can debate it, but you know what? If the league didn't think there was something here, you think they're going to waste their time and hire an outside firm and investigate it and take weeks and weeks to do this? And now it's embarrassing to everybody involved, with the Lakers anyway. But even the league itself. Now you got two fraternity brothers who are, conspiring. One's conspiring against the other to get players. And look, we haven't. This is only the beginning. When this is proved or disproved one way or the other, what's next? LeBron, have they had any conversation with LeBron? Will he be joining Paul George, his friend, next year? But that's a different situation in that LeBron hasn't said anything about he wants to go somewhere. He didn't say anything. He might re-sign with them. Who knows? So it's going to be difficult on that score. But next summer, let's see where LeBron goes.
All right, we're talking to Peter Vezzi here on The Right Time. Now, how much did Magic Johnson's interview on Jimmy Kimmel factor into the Pacers deciding to push this forward?
I have no idea. I don't just as an outsider, I would say nothing to do with it. I believe it was information that had Magic speaking to George. He didn't speak to him on Jimmy Kimmel. You can wink all you want, but I don't think that's going to prove anything. But that was silly of Magic to do. You're in a position of a president of a team, and you're getting on there and being stupid. He wants everybody to know that, I really, I didn't talk to him, but what, I really did. Stupid. He's got to get a new identity here about him.
Now, how difficult will it be for the league to demonstrate that tampering took place?
Very difficult. Very, very difficult. I don't really know how they can do it unless they find a smoking gun, which would be a piece of paper saying that they had this deal. There was an email, that there was a telephone calls back and forth to between the agent and the team, or George and Magic, or whatever. Whatever they find, it's going to be very hard to find documents like that. The only reason, and I pointed this out a number of times today, that the only reason that the Timberwolves were caught, tampering with their own player, and look what it cost them for tampering with their own player, for trying to circumvent the cap on their own player. It cost them, in the end, 3 number 1 draft picks. Their owner and general manager were suspended for a year, as was the team lawyer, and they were fined $3.5 million, and Joe Smith had to go somewhere else. That was the good news. But, so this, can you imagine if they found something here? You would get all that. You would get all that and more.
You really think that would be all that? Because my thinking would be that it's more important for the league. Like what they did with Joe Smith seemed to be above and beyond what goes on in the NBA. Like levels of tampering seem to be pretty common, but going above the cap and actually being dumb enough to write it down seemed to be a little bit more egregious than what's going on with Paul George.
Well, I just said to you, if they find something that was written, that's as egregious as it gets.
But even if it's written,
tampering goes on all the time. Yeah. Well, there's 2 times that they've one time with Karolinko, and this is the second time. So it might go on all the time, but it takes an owner to turn on another owner and make a complaint. And that's what happened this time. And that's what happened with the Nets, with Karolinko. Minnesota complained.
All right, we're talking to Peter Vezzi here on The Right Time. Now, how much do you think would have to be demonstrated for it to be a situation where the Lakers would not be allowed to sign Paul George in 2018?
If they find out they tampered, he's not coming to the Lakers. There's no question about that. They tampered with him? Forget it. It's like I pointed out this morning to some radio station. It's remindful of the Knicks when they signed George McGinnis. When they weren't allowed to, he belonged to the Philadelphia 76ers. At the time, he was playing for the ABA Pacers. The Knicks signed him, just arrogantly sign him. The league says no way, and it cost them a number 1 pick. And then he went to Philly. Wasn't allowed to stay with New York. So there are instances over the years where teams, when Atlanta thought that they could usurp Milwaukee and signed Julius Erving as when he was playing with the Virginia Squires, and they played him 2 exhibition games. They didn't even have his right. Arrogant. And they were fined, I believe, I think it was $500,000, which they wound up not paying. They made some kind of a settlement when he was traded from the Squires to the Nets. But I'm just saying, so there are circumstances, that the league can look back on, and it's going to be up to the commissioner at the end if they're found guilty. If they're found guilty, mark my words, it'll be heavy duty.
All right, that is Peter Vezzi covering the NBA. Thanks so much, my man. I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, now, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Last year, over 3 million drivers switched to Progressive. Call or click today and find out if you can save.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Peter Vezzi for joining us last segment. We have got Herm Edwards joining us in the 5 o'clock Eastern hour. Remember, if you miss anything live, check out the Right Time podcast available on the ESPN app. Also, the Right Time is brought to you by Upside. Now save big on travel and get a big gift card every trip you buy. You'll love Upside.com. Upside.com. We're going to do Unblock Me Bo at 6 o'clock. If I have blocked you on the Twitter and you would like to, get back into good graces, give us a call at 888-729-3776. Once you do that, the homie Nuno will talk to you, figure out if you can get on. All right, 888-729-3776. Talk to Daryl in Atlanta. Daryl, thanks for calling the Right Time.
Bo, I appreciate you taking the call. First of all, Alexander Luzan in the house.
Indeed.
Bo, Peter Vesey, I totally disagree with him because I believe that even if they can prove tampering, I don't think there's any way the NBA could come down that hard on the Lakers. And then secondly, Bo, you must have done something to Peter Vesey because he seemed a bit ornery. I'll hang up and listen. I know I've heard him over the years, and he can be ornery, but I think you did something to him, Bo. Have a good one, Bo.
I appreciate the call. I think all I did was call him. Wasn't he ornery when he was on with the boys in L.A. today?
Yeah, I guess he's probably feeling a bit defensive because some folks are starting to question his reporting. And so if that is, in fact, the case, then I would be a bit defensive as well.
Yeah, but where I disagree with him, his idea that Paul George was coerced into trying to get off the Pacers. Paul George wanted to get off the Pacers all by his damn self, right? I'm not buying the idea that Paul George is just so weak and easily manipulated that Magic came in and now all of a sudden he wants to lead the Pacers. Come on now. The Pacers were going to have to get rid of Paul George. Either way it spun. Now they out here salty and they want to pull forth this complaint. And all that's going to do is stop Paul George from going to the Lakers, which is hate, 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 hate. That's it. Speaking of hate, let's hit the phones and talk to Jesse from Ohio. Jesse, thanks for calling the Right Time.
How's it going, Bo? Definitely a big fan of the show. Listen to it every day after work.
Appreciate it.
So I noticed something that, especially listening to you and Amin, it seems like the generation right before mine, you're a few years older than me. I was born in 90, so a little bit before 90 up to about 95, we're huge Kobe fans. But that generation right before, the older brothers, uncles, generation, y'all seem to hate on Kobe a lot, and I don't understand why. Now, granted, I know there are stands. I'm not one of the stands. I'm very objective.
Yeah, hold on. You telling me you're not a stand, but you stayed on hold to ask this?
Well, I got nothing else to do. I'm on the way to drive home.
Okay.
Honestly, you want to hear my perspective? I can prove to you I'm not a stand.
No, that's cool. I'm just trying to figure out why I got to be. First of all, I am pretty open about the things about Kobe that not only do I simply like, but that I legitimately admire. I know you've heard me talk about the fearlessness and his outlook on the world. As to how I look at that is something I wish I could put more into my life, having it the way that Kobe does. I just think that Kobe's a bit overrated as a basketball player.
I understand. I can respect that because, people putting him in, they talking about second best, third best. I'm like, that's a kind of a reach. I got him personally. I have him fighting for top 10. He's in the top 10 range in my eyes. But it's not in question, I got the LeBrons, the Kareems, the Jordans. Obviously, they're, in a whole different world. But, he's on the next – I consider him that next tier of superstars in that level. So I understand why people, get annoyed with the stands, but that still don't mean you don't have to have a disdain for him.
I don't have a disdain for Kobe. Now Shannon got a disdain for Kobe, ain't that right, Shannon?
It's a healthy one. How's that? It's a healthy one.
See, that's what this is. Jesse, I appreciate the call. I'm starting to feel like over time, Shannon, you out here messing up my good name because they taking your Kobe hate and saying that it's mine.
I can understand that. Guilty by association, absolutely, and I apologize, and that's unfortunate for you. But some things just exist, and my Kobe hatred is one that you're just going to have to deal with.
Now, I admit, I used to hate Kobe way back when. I don't do that no more, though. I don't do that. I've grown up. I've matured.
I can appreciate Kobe. I do. I respect him. I'm not a Kobe guy, and that's fine. I let that be known. He's not LeBron, And growing up in that same era, I was more of an Iverson guy. That's probably where it really started.
I think that's all of where it comes from,
yeah,
right?
Probably, absolutely.
It's actually funny how there's the Kobe LeBron, you got to pick a side on this one. Kobe Iverson was probably more of a divide. That was a divide of a lifestyle. That was a divide that spoke to who you were. Is that fair?
Absolutely, and I think Iverson, for a huge generation, he identified more with people, where some looked at Kobe rightly or wrongly looked at him as the spoiled rich kid. Not saying he was, but that's how some viewed him. Whereas Iverson, they looked at him as the guy who had to fight for everything that he had.
And you was in Virginia. Speaking of which, they talk about renaming the Jefferson Davis Highway in Alexandria, Virginia. And I know it's a different kind of Virginia, but can we make that the Bubba Chuck Parkway? Could that work?
Alexandria? Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same part of Virginia, but still. Like, I feel like if we got to change the name on it, the Bubba Chuck Parkway, I feel like that's the way to go.
Alexandria, you'll be more likely to get maybe a Grant Hill Parkway.
Yeah. You know what? I guess we can't go all the way at once, right? You imagine how quick Jefferson Davis will hop up out of his grave if he found out, like, tell me about this Iverson. Whoa, wait a minute. You talking about the one with the T-shirts? Oh, no. Can't have that. Cannot have that. That'll be marching down there again. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next. So we got a protest, but with white dudes in it too? Ooh, ESPN Radio.
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Check out ESPN Films' newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. Hey, look at these white guys in the NFL getting a little close to the revolution. Not like an actual revolution, because the black dudes ain't really talking about no revolution necessarily either. But, you know, we've had these national anthem protests of various sorts, and now people are using the national anthem to do all kinds of different things, right? So one of them, Chris Long, was that last week? Chris Long stood with Malcolm Jenkins. So Malcolm Jenkins had his fist up. Chris Long came and stood with him. And I know that Long had been trying to figure out, like, how to demonstrate that he's an ally to the cause without trying to be up front for the cause necessarily, right? So Jenkins is standing with the fist up. Chris Long is standing there with the hand on his shoulder, and it wound up being a powerful display. Also, of course, because Chris Long is from Charlottesville, and the Charlottesville thing, you know, all of that. Then we fast forward, and Michael Bennett, who is not standing for the anthem, he sat during the anthem, and Justin Britt came and stood next to him with his hand on his shoulder. And then we had Khalil Mack, who was standing during the anthem, as people typically stand during the anthem, and Derek Carr then came and put his hand on his shoulder. It is a time for white dudes, apparently, to show that they are down with their brothers, who are also brothers, even though they're not brothers. But, you know, you got to show that you're down with the brothers. Anyway, they were there, and that's what it was. Now, here is Michael Bennett talking about Justin Britt and the risk that Justin Britt took by standing with him.
I talked to him. I said, there's backlash, and are you sure you want to do this? Because everybody is not willing to stand up for something like this. A lot of times you lose a lot. You lose sponsors, you lose people, you lose fans, you lose all types of things.
Now, this is Justin Britt himself talking about why he stood with Bennett.
He thought a white player should do it. That kind of triggered in my mind because, you know, I see what's going on. We all do, and we all have choices whether to be an example or be a follower. You know, I might sit with him if things don't get better, if things don't improve. But right now, I'm just going to continue what I'm doing.
You know, part of what's interesting there is, Shad, you remember when everybody said the problem with Kaepernick is he'd tear up your locker room and be split down the middle? And the Seahawks were like, no, actually, we talk about this stuff, and we've had great discussions, and look at what's happened.
That was one of the main excuses that they would have with Kaepernick, that he would divide the locker room.
Yeah, no, it's almost crazy. Like, you get a bunch of grown men together, and they might be able to talk about some stuff and, like, learn some things from one another. Isn't that wild? Now, here's Derek Carr. Derek Carr was talking about why it was that he stood with Mac during the national anthem.
We're not protesting, we're not doing anything like that. What we wanted to do is show all the kids that look up to me, look up to him, that white kids, black kids, brown kids, blue, green, doesn't matter, can all be loving to each other. And that's what me and Khalil are, is we're best friends and we love one another.
Now, I do have to ask this, though, of Derek Carr. If you're not protesting, then what exactly are you doing right now? Right? Because I do think there's something to be said for the message that we could all love each other. But that's what people have always said, that football was all by itself, that you didn't need like an additional display to demonstrate that, right? Like, I felt like that seemed to me kind of like Derek Carr's like, yo, man, I got to do something, but I really ain't trying to do too much necessarily. So how do I go about doing this? And Derek Carr is a man who's pretty strong in his faith and everything else. So I think that this fell in line with just the way that he generally sees things. And I think on one hand, it is like really dope that we're seeing this, where you got these white dudes who recognize that there's an appearance of division for one reason or another, and they want to do their part to kind of bring those things together. That being said, I hope that some of these cats have an understanding that, look, man, putting your hand on Khalil Mack's shoulder, for example, that ain't really doing nothing. That's not really going that far. Like, one thing I'm finding in the course of this is there are a bunch of white dudes that seem to want to get patted on the back for doing absolutely nothing. Shannon, did you know that the people in Boston are mad at me again?
Oh, wait. What happened now?
What happened now was they had to march in Boston over the weekend. The Nazis, they thought the Nazis were going to show up. The Nazis did not show up, and you had tens of thousands of Bostonians showing up to show their opposition to the Nazis, which I think is kind of cool. But, of course, that meant that you had a whole bunch of people from Boston who thought that the most important thing in that moment was to come see if Bomani sees how not racist they are. And I'm like, hey, man, saying we're not down with the Nazis is not the boldest statement in the world. Like, it's just not. This country, the World War II was 1941 through 1945, which is to say that our country demonstrated clearly that it hated black people and Nazis at the same time. It can do both. We have demonstrated that we could be a multitasking nation in that sort of way. You can, in fact, do both, right? But the idea is that people, so many of them, feel like they should just get a pat on the back for this little bit. Like, basically, we don't hate you. And that's supposed to be good enough. And that's that's a low bar. Like, I saw the thing with Kevin Sumlin with A&M, because Richard Spencer and his band of white supremacists was talking about having a march in College Station on September 11th, and the school decided to shut it down because it was unsafe, right? I mean, it's public ground, so they only have so far they could go to shut it down. But they realized that it would be unsafe, and it probably would have been unsafe because, I mean, it's Texas. We be packing. Right, and I ain't talking about these people coming in from out of town. Like, some of them might be packing, but the locals, they packing for you to see. Like, that's just how we get down. And so the school decided they were going to shut it down because they thought it was going to be unsafe. And then Kevin Sumlin said that he was proud of the people in charge for doing this. And I'm like, proud? Like, how low is the bar that we're setting on what it is that people are doing? The next level of this, like, if we're really talking about it, it goes beyond just like, hey, man, I'm going to just, do something for the anthem. It goes past that. Now, right fast before I forget about this is Michael Bennett. He was on SportsCenter last week, and he was talking about how a white player protesting would change things.
I honestly believe that it would take a white player to be able to really get things changed, because a lot of people, when somebody from the other side understands and they step up and they speak about it, it will change the whole conversation, because you bring somebody who doesn't really have to be a part of the conversation to bringing himself and making himself vulnerable in front of it. And I think when that happens, things will really take a big jump.
I think he's right about that, but I also think that we need to acknowledge that hasn't happened yet. Right? Like, these shows of solidarity are not the same thing as any level of protest. That hasn't happened yet. Like, these cats are saying, yo, this is my dude, and it's his right to say that, but they're not saying the same thing. And I don't feel like these dudes are necessarily obligated to say these things. I just think that it's important to separate a protest from saying, hey, my man's protesting, and he has the right to do that. Like, that's not the same thing. But this is a step. Like, this is a big thing in the progression of where we're going on some of these issues, right? Like, this has gone beyond Kaepernick, who can't get a job, to these guys now who are making similar statements, and now they've got guys on their teams who are like, look, man, I'm reading the news, and at the very least, I don't think they tripping. Like, that's where we are, is I don't think they tripping. Which progress. Right. That is a move beyond where we started in this, perhaps. But be careful. No matter who you are observing this, be careful. And the thing I feel like you have to be careful about is be careful allowing the presence of these white dudes to hijack what is the larger issue. Because what I do kind of see happening in these is so Derek Carr shows up and it's like, wow, yay for Derek Carr for standing there alongside this dude. But the issues are far bigger than we just need to love each other, right? Like, yay, Justin Britt for standing with Michael Bennett. But I think that people are much more comfortable talking about Justin Britt being there than they are talking about the actual issues. And it doesn't sound like Justin Britt is fully ready to talk about those issues, too. I don't blame him for that, right? He's not a public spokesman. I get that. But we can't pat so many people on the back just for saying, I feel you, bro. It's not really going that far. If you think that people shouldn't go farther than they're going right there, okay, that's your thought. You can do that. But this here really ain't the revolution. This here is dipping a toe in. Like I said, I know with Chris Long that he has a concern with not making it, not putting himself to the front of someone else's struggle. Like, I get that, and I think there's a real concern with doing that sort of thing. At the same time, it's not just going to be a white dude putting his hand on somebody's shoulder that's going to change anything. It's going to be some level of white dude making some bold statement. Like, think about this. Shannon, you've heard of things that Jim Harbaugh has had to say as a college coach. Imagine if there were one player of consequence who was saying that, or one NFL coach who was saying those same things, like in the way that Greg Popovich or Steve Kerr says in the NBA. That ain't happening here yet. And I'm telling you, it would mean a lot more if it happened in this league by a coach or one of those white players than it would be in the NBA. We're not there yet. So, yeah, this is kind of interesting. We'll see where it goes. Give credit to cats for what they're doing, but don't give them any more credit than they deserve. All right, 888-729-3776. Send talk to Walter in California. Walter, thanks for calling the right time.
Hi, Bomani. Thank you so much for taking my call. I have, on behalf of 1-800-Flowers.com, so I'd like to ask, you guys really are talking about one thing. Colin Kaepernick, when he takes a knee, he's showing so much respect. He's paying attention. He's fucking, right? There's no greater way to honor our military, our country, or our anthem than what Colin Kaepernick is doing. But what this Bennett character is doing, sitting on the bench, waving his knees around, it seems really embarrassing, like what all the critics are fighting against. I'd like you to give me your opinion on that very subject.
Well, Walter, I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. And Shannon, Walter from California. Not what I was expecting.
I was listening intently.
Yeah, not quite what I was expecting. I do have to say this, though. If you're not going to stand during the national anthem, like, what are you supposed to do if you can't pull out your phone? Like, I think that Michael Bennett was like, after the anthem got played, he was like, damn, what am I supposed to do now? Right? Whew. Yeah, so there's that. By the way, we're doing Unblock Me Both, 6 o'clock Eastern. You want to get unblocked, give us a call, 888-729-3776. Noon or hear your story, and we'll go from there. Coming up next, oh, boy, Mitchell Trubisky, not so bad at quarterback. Mike Glennon, looking kind of awful. You're listening to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Herm Edwards of ESPN will join us next segment. Herm Edwards will join us at 5:30 Eastern. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So if people are paying attention to what you do during training camp and during preseason games, that means one of two things. Either there is something about you that is very good, or there is something about you that is very bad. Right? Because if you're really good, what you do in preseason doesn't matter at all. Now, if people think that you might be good, then they're going to be out here paying some attention to you, right? But if you're very bad, no one cares what you do in the preseason either. But if you're kind of bad, people keep an eye out for just how bad you are. And that eye is on you, Mr. Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon is right now the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Glennon went 2 for 8 for 20 yards in their preseason opener. And then in the next one, Shannon, what we got? 13 for 18 for 89 yards.
13 for 18, 89 yards, yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, I remember that when Mike Glennon got that job from Josh Freeman, and it was a lot of those 13 for 18 for 89 yards where you're like, damn, like, who you passing to, the lineman? Like, who are you? What plays are y'all calling? Are y'all running out of the goal line set? Like, how 18 attempts and all you got was 89 yards, right? Like, we've seen this from Mike Glennon. Trubisky played most of the second half, 6 for 8, 60 yards, and a score. I have no idea if Mr. Trubisky is actually good because I don't know what to take of it when somebody plays well in the preseason. But when you play bad in the preseason, I know what that probably means. That means you probably stink. And Mike Glennon, once again, is about to get chased off a job that he was sure was his. How many times has Mike Glennon been chased off of a job that he was sure was his? Now, Shannon, you and I have been hearing about Mike Glennon now for what, almost 10 years?
2008, yeah.
2008. That's when he showed up in North Carolina State. For those of you who don't know the story, Mike Glennon was Tom O'Brien's quarterback recruit, right? Like, Tom O'Brien's coming off the Matt Ryan thing, and he just got the job at NC State. I think 2007 was his first year. And, it's like, well, when's he going to get his quarterback? And Shannon, what was that, the Daniel Evans era?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, like that. That's what we had going there, right? Okay. So he gets Mike Glennon, and Mike Glennon's going to redshirt because he needed to physically develop. But I remember I was taking phone calls that year for fans, and all they wanted to hear about was Mike Glennon. All they wanted to hear about was Mike Glennon, no way. That's all they wanted to hear about. The thing was, NC State had this 2-star quarterback that had come in. He was a redshirt freshman, and they figured he would just hold it down until Mike Glennon was ready. And that guy's name was Russell Wilson, and he held it down until he was ready to go. And then Mike Glennon got the job, got to play for a couple years. That was cool. He wound up going to Tampa, and the plan there was really for him to supplant Josh Freeman, as Josh Freeman set his own career on fire, right? He got that job from Josh Freeman. He think he's rolling. Nope. Next year, they bring in Josh McCown. But he's like, it's cool, man. It's Josh McCown. How long can that go on, right? Then they went and drafted Jameis. And then he rode to Oak for a couple years behind Jameis. But people kept telling us, Mike Glennon, hey, watch out for Mike Glennon. Watch out for Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon was a free agent. Everybody told you, right, Mike Glennon going to wind up getting a starting job in free agency. And then Mike Glennon got the job with the Bears. Finally, Mike Glennon got his chance. What was it, a month later? They went and drafted a quarterback. Mike Glennon got run off his job again. Like, as soon as it looks like he's going to be the one to get the job, somebody's like, man, what are we doing? Are you kidding me? Go get somebody else. You can't have this dude out here.
You know what Mike Glennon is? He's that 2 a.m. when the lights come on.
Yep.
Like, when the lights are dim, he looks great. And that, with 2 a.m., after
like,
after the last call and that last song plays, they turn those lights on. It's like, wait.
You know what happened? Nah, you run up on Mike Glennon during that reggae set, right? Then all of a sudden they put on that Michael Jackson. The turnaround happened. It's like, whoa, what happened to who I was just dancing with? You looked the part just a second ago. Now you look like that. Yeah, like, oh, snap. I got to go to the bathroom and buy a Newport. I'll be right back. They might sell out. And then you got to go away. So, yeah. So, is Mike Glennon going to be the week 1 starter? You think he is?
I think he's going to be the week 1 starter. I don't think the Bears are going to have a great season, so they're gonna go to Trubisky probably, I would say, by week 5?
Yeah, man. But I just read a column in the Tribune, man. I already got a columnist pushing for Trubisky to be the starter. Mike Glennon hadn't even started his job. He might get Matt Flynn. Do you remember that? He might get Matt Flynn. Look, the money gone, right? Like, whatever the money is that you spent on Mike Glennon, you're not getting that money back. The money is gone. Are their fortunes so bad as the Bears that they are going to go straight into the future with Trubisky out here when none of us think that Trubisky, or at least this happened the same thing last year. All these quarterbacks, and they said none of them were ready to play. And then immediately we're going to try to make somebody play. So that's how you got Carson Wentz last year. And people were happy about Carson Wentz at first, man, but Carson Wentz wasn't that good. I don't even know if Carson Wentz was good at all last year. I also don't know how much it does or doesn't help for a guy to not play. Like, no one seems to have a real clear answer on how much that winds up helping. But now, man, Mike Glennon, he's going to be on the Oak. One good thing about Mike Glennon, though, to be fair, it won't be hard to find who's giving the signals on the sideline. You can find him easy. They're going to put him over there in like a red hat. Oh, you can find Mike Glennon like that. Like that. What's Mike Glennon, 6'8"?
He got a long neck, too. I think he's like 6'7" without a neck, so he's about 6'8".
That's what I'm saying, man. It ain't going to be hard to find Mike Glennon, man, over there on the sideline. Like, he is perfect. 6'6" is what they list him at, but he is perfectly built to give the signals. He's right there. You ain't never going to lose him. I'll tell you this, too. If I'm Mike Glennon, I don't want to play for the Bears. I can get another year toward the pension, plus all this money, and I don't have to take any shots. I'd be like, hey, man, I need y'all to get me the flyest baseball caps y'all got, bro. The flyest ones. I want to look right. Look the part, be the part. I'm trying to be a professional. Do my part for the league. Because, I'm thinking it's a wrap, and it hadn't even gotten started. Also, Shannon, I'm looking at this picture of Mike Glennon. Looks like Mike Glennon need to come on home. He has a hairline reminiscent of an old Van Vader. Get a look at this. Time's up. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, how hard is it for a coach to decide if the rookie quarterback should be starting? We'll talk to Herm Edwards about that on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Like I've been telling you for a while, if you travel for business, stop wasting time pricing your flights and hotels at the same old sites you used to go to. The only site you need is Upside.com. It's quick and easy for Upside to show you the exact flights you're looking for and big-name hotels you want to stay at. You can buy them separately. You can bundle them together. The more you bundle, the more you save, the bigger the gift card you receive at places like Amazon.com every time you buy a business travel package using Upside. Their concierge level of service is second to none. You get the VIP treatment while paying low prices. And their expert navigators always available 24/7 through chat, phone, social, and email to help anytime. Upside's the real deal for buying your business trips. You got to give them a try. And right now, when you use promo code Bomani, you're guaranteed to get at least a $100 Amazon gift card on your package purchase. That's code Bomani to get a $100 gift card free. Upside.com, the better way to buy business travel. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. He's an analyst for us here at ESPN. His name is Herm Edwards. Now, Coach, we were just talking about Mitchell Trubisky and Mike Glennon in Chicago. Now, how difficult is it to make that decision on when to put in a rookie quarterback that might not quite be ready to play in the NFL?
Well, a lot will depend on this week, to be quite honest. For those two situations. I think going into that situation, I think you allow both those rookie quarterbacks. This is what I would do. I would actually let them play in the second quarter and come out in the third quarter with the starters as well. I think the competition right now is in favor of the veteran guy. With that being said, if you struggle early, and I mean struggle at the quarterback position, and you lose games early, those guys will be penciled in that they're starting now, and these rookies are going to take over, and it's their job. Then it's going to be their job eventually.
Now, how much would you worry about Trubisky, say, in Chicago, where there's not a lot of guys to throw the ball to?
Well, that's the problem. They want to run the ball, and that's what you're going to do with a young guy anyway. You would like the scenario that Dak Prescott had. Now, most of those teams don't have great offensive lines like Dallas does, but not allow him to be a volume passer. When you think about Dallas, they did a great job of really orchestrating an offense around the quarterback, Prescott. He only threw it 400-plus times, and they ran it a little bit more than they threw it, and that's what you'd like for a young quarterback.
All right, we're talking to Herm Edwards here on The Right Time. Now, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Jared Goff last year was a rookie, and it did not look so good. On Saturday, he looked a lot better. What did you think about him?
Yeah, I thought the coach did a nice job of orchestrating some things early in the game. In other words, if you watch the game closely, which I did, they orchestrated the platform where he threw the ball. A lot of his throws were basically boots and waggles. They got him on the edge. We had easy reads. We could make easy completions. And I think that's the key. He completed the ball early in the game, and all of a sudden he looked like a quarterback. You said, this offense is pretty good. And then all of a sudden the runner started running now. They're playing against the Raiders. And there lies the problem with the Oakland Raiders. Last year, this team, the Oakland Raiders, they got a playoff offense, but defense, they're still struggling in the back end. They gave up 98 passes of 15 yards or more. In that game, they gave up 4. They got issues, this Raiders, on the back end of their defense, I'm telling you.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I was like, are you surprised that their defense is still struggling like that, knowing that this is a team that has a chance to win the conference?
Well, I am. When you have Jack Del Rio, the defensive coach, you got Ken Norton, who's been the coordinator. You got John Pagano, who's another defensive guy. So you got some good defensive guys. I think they're in a place now defensively where they got to ask themselves this question: is the system fitting what we're asking these guys to do? Because look, if you watch the Raiders play, if Khalil Mack doesn't sack the quarterback, guess what? That quarterback stands there all day, throws the ball down the field. So we got a problem. We got a problem now. We got to get it fixed before the season starts.
All right, we're talking to Herm Edwards here on The Right Time. Of these rookie quarterbacks so far this preseason, which have you found most impressive?
Oh, boy. The one who hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, Deshaun Watson. He's run two of them, and he hasn't thrown one yet. I just think that, when you watch him play, he reminds me a lot of Dak. He has poise. It's not too big for him. He doesn't panic. I like his skill set, and I coached the kid in the Under Armour game. I had him before he went to college. A lot of these kids that are playing now, a lot of these kids I actually coached in the All-Star game, so I met him when he was a young man. But his whole personality, the game's not too big. I think eventually he's going to be the starter there. I like all the guys, though. When you think about it, the pressure that is on organizations, they draft a quarterback high. Look, even Kaiser, Hugh Jackson is saying right now that he wants to look at Kaiser, which is smart, in this third preseason game, the third one they're going to have, with the starting group. Kansas City, Mahomes, he's not taking Alex Smith's job. They're all excited in Kansas City. Alex Smith is a quarterback, okay? Trubisky's a guy, he hadn't had a lot of reps, but you like what you see. That's good for the league, by the way. When young quarterbacks, the arrow is pointing up in the preseason, and maybe 2 years from now, they become like Mariota and Jameis Winston. That's good for the National Football League.
Now we're talking to Herm Edwards here on The Right Time. Now, with Watson, what do you think is the toughest adjustment for him to make coming out of that system in Clemson, coming to what Bill O'Brien is doing, which is not at all collegiate?
Well, the verbiage, for one, of play calling. You don't stand on the side and look at the card. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, that's the play. Now you got to go in the huddle and you got to lead men. You've got to make checks on the line of scrimmage, which he probably did a little bit in college. But in college, the defenses are really simplified. There's a couple coverages you get, and you spread everybody out, and you understand, okay, this is what the coverage looks like. I go here or there. Quarterback in the National Football League, first thing you have to see when you break the huddle, guess what? You got to look at the front. What's the front? Is it under? Is it over? Is it odd? Is it the bare front? What is it? And then from there, it's what are the known defenses they like playing in this situation? All those things have to be known before the ball snaps.
All right, talking to Herm Edwards here on The Right Time. Are you surprised that Paxton Lynch in his second season hasn't been able to win the job in Denver?
No. Bomani, I think he's too tall. I'm not kidding. There's never been a quarterback that's been 6'7" or more that's been successful in our league. That's the history of it. I know it. I've been in this league 30 years, but I do history in football. He's too tall. He might be too tall. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but go back and check it. Just check it. There hasn't been 6'7", 6'8" quarterbacks that have been successful in our league. Their motion is too long. He's not accurate. That's not his fault. It's just his body type says he might struggle, and he struggled. Now, he's still a young guy, but, we're sitting there that they got quarterback competition in Denver, and I'm going, really? Who said that? Look at your eyes. It's Simeon. He's the guy. So when they announced it today, I said, really? He's been a starter since you went to camp. I said, it ain't even close.
Well, it's interesting you talk about his motion because, like, the tall quarterback I think about is Dan McGuire, right? Mark McGuire's brother that played for Seattle. Right, and he couldn't get out the way, right? Like, he got ended what I think was like a broken hip because he wasn't mobile enough, and Lynch I thought would be athletic enough, but I hadn't thought about that with the motion.
Well, see, and here's the problem, too, you have, Bomani, is when they get in the pocket and the pocket collides on you, you got to be able to step up and throw. Well, guess what? Because of your frame, you can't shorten your stride. Well, that's a problem because you throw with your legs. You have to be accurate in this league. That's the key. The good quarterbacks are accurate. You got to be an accurate passer.
All right, that is Herm Edwards. Check him out, covering the NFL for us here at ESPN. My man, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, now don't forget we're doing Unblock Me, Bo, at 6 p.m. Eastern, in honor of the eclipse because the sun got blocked out. If you want to get on the Unblock Me, call us, 888-729-3776. Nuno will talk to you. We get this whole thing figured out. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Herm Edwards for joining us last segment. Booger McFarland will join us in the 6 o'clock Eastern hour. Nothing makes a summer birthday or anniversary more magical than 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you order a dozen multicolored roses for only $29.99, you get another dozen absolutely free. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We're doing Unblock Me Bo at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're trying to get unblocked, give us a call at 888-729-3776. That's 888 say ESPN, and there is a possibility that against my will, Shannon will get me to unblock you. By the way, everyone that we've unblocked so far has been very well behaved since they have returned into the midst. They seem to be legitimately, they know they was wrong.
And that's a stipulation that we do have, is just because you got unblocked doesn't mean you can't get blocked again.
Yeah, no. They know they was wrong. They know they tripping. You know what I'm saying? And don't be coming out here. They make me do this, just so you know. Anyway, Anquan Bolden retired. Anquan Bolden, I believe, hit the league in, 2002 is when he got to the league? 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. He had an incredible rookie season. One of the toughest receivers there's ever been. There's not that many receivers who are always open. And Anquan Bolden is one of those dudes who was always open. And he wasn't like always open in the Randy Moss sense where he could always go by you or always go over you. He's always open in that I will just box you out and get the ball sort of sense. 2003, Shannon. But he's going to box you out. Like, you can't check him. That was it 2012 when the Ravens won the Super Bowl? How much of that was third down? Anquan Bolden is always open because he is going to box you out. Now, couple thoughts here. One, people immediately would hit me up and they would hit me on the, so do you think Anquan Bolden is a Hall of Famer? New rule, guys. I'm making this rule right now so we can show respect for cats like Anquan Bolden. If you are not positive that somebody is a Hall of Famer, don't ask about whether or not they're a Hall of Famer the day they retire. Because then it turns into a discussion that's going to have people in there talking about what they did not do rather than what they did do, and it becomes unfair to that dude. Enjoy the career that he had, at least for the day. Give it a week. We got 4-5 years before we got to worry about whether or not he's in the Hall of Fame. There's no need to do that. There's none. But, of course, there's of greater significance why it was that Anquan Bolden retired. And he was on SportsCenter this morning with L. Duncan and Jay Harris, and here's what his reason was.
My life's passion and my life is bigger than football. I love playing the game of football. I love the lessons that you learn from playing football. But I think for me, it's time to take that into another realm.
Now, when he talks about another realm, he said he's been looking around at the news, basically. Check this.
Seeing where our country is at this point, I think there's no better time than right now. As we all know, there's a lot going on right now in this country. And for me, it breaks my heart to see how divided we are as a country. I think that we're all equal. And for me, I'm going to try to advocate and make sure that we all have equal rights.
He also don't want to play for the Bills no more. Like, I feel like if I'm going to get beat up by America, I might as well be doing it for a cause and not for a sorry football team, right? But this is interesting, right? Like, he says he looked around and realized this is the place that he wants to be in. Like, this is where he needs to be putting his grind, is not so much on playing football, but with the world that's around us. And, by the way, he feels like we should get some help with this from the teams, the organizations.
I think a lot of times people look at us as players and they think the sole responsibility should be placed on us. But for me, I would like to call not only players, but owners, coaches, and management to step up to the challenge of making this world a better place. The reason we all play sports is because we feel like sports should be a microcosm of what this world should look like. People of different races, people of different creeds, different backgrounds, different coaches, all working together as one for one common goal.
You know, this is interesting, like the idea of talking about these organizations, because I don't think anybody necessarily feels like players have an obligation to do anything. In fact, some of y'all get salty when the players are out here doing something. But I do think that there's something to be said now. Like, look, no matter what side you fall on these matters, man, you watching the news, man, we in a place of problems, right? Like, this ain't right. Shannon, I just saw a poll that said, I think ABC News did this poll, that 9% of people see nothing wrong with the neo-Nazi view of the world. 9% of people in this country. Yo, that's really high, right? Like 1 in 10?
That's an uncomfortable level.
Yes, that makes me nervous. 1 in 10. That's what this poll said. Like, let me get a look at this poll again because I thought the numbers on it were interesting to the point of being staggering. In discussing whether the alt-right movement in general, 10% said they supported it, 50% said they opposed it, only 50, and 41% said they had no opinion. On this one, Shannon, holding neo-Nazi views is 83% said unacceptable, 9% said acceptable. Yo, that's a big problem, man. There's no way around that. If 1 in 10 people don't see a problem with neo-Nazi views, that's a huge problem. That's a problem that the owners are the ones that could get through to reach somebody with, right? They got the sway. They know the people. They're the ones that could get through. So, like, what is the obligation of the people who really run this, the one with the billions? Because it seems as though we let them slide. Once you are a billionaire, we will let you slide and basically just say, well, all you worried about is money, so nothing else you do ultimately matters. In fact, we use all you do is money as a way to absolve you of any responsibility, basically for real responsibility. That's how we treat those cats in those same situations. So what can teams do? Like, what could owners do? This is beyond Derek Carr or Justin Britt or anybody else putting their hand on the shoulder of a player or whatever. Stephen Ross, for example, has that RISE program. Stephen Ross is the owner of the Dolphins, has the RISE program. Like, he's put in some grind on these matters. Like, where are the rest of the owners? Like, what is their contribution to make something better? And just, like, paying tribute to soldiers when they show up is not enough. Like, what do they have? Because, look, Anquan Bolden wasn't going to be playing football much longer. But I am really struck by the fact that he said he looked around and realized this isn't where I should be. This isn't what I should be doing. I should be focused on working on something that's bigger than this. And I don't think there's any way to look at that other than being admirable. Because you know he loves playing football, but, hey, something's more important. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, have I blocked you on Twitter? It's time for Unblock Me Bo on ESPN Radio.
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Check out ESPN Films' newly released 30 for 30 podcasts. From the producers of our award-winning documentary series, this is an amazing collection of sports stories you need to hear to believe. Speaking of amazing, Delta Airlines and the Fly Delta app make your travel experience amazingly easy with real-time bag tracking, e-boarding, and passport scanning during check-in. And don't forget to download 30 for 30 podcasts to fill your flight with stories that will keep you coming back for more.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. So I'm a team player here at ESPN. I do what I can for the larger cause, and sometimes doing what I can for the larger cause involves me doing things that not only do I not want to do, but things to which I have a principled objection. Go ahead and play the little intro for what we're about to do.
Unblock me, Bo. You know Bomani Jones is not shy about blocking on Twitter. The Right Time team recognizes we all slip up, so Bo will give one lucky follower an opportunity to make amends. It's Unblock Me, Bo.
I would like to note that the Right Time team understands that we all slip up. The Right Time host does not feel the same way. But we got 3 people on hold who have been blocked and wish to be unblocked. Shannon, I got you there just in case somebody out here used a lie detector test.
Brian, yep.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's start with a gentleman named Kyle from Philly. Kyle, what'd you get blocked for?
So, in not one of my best moments in life, I tweeted your brother. You mentioned your brother a lot. So I did a Google search to figure out who your brother was just to see if any of his work was public. I didn't know if he was in journalism like you. And I found out his name, which I'm not going to say on air. But
I then tweeted you after I Googled his name. All the search results that came back related to a young woman who was suing R. Kelly for some alleged misconduct. So, again, and not one of my best moments, I tweeted you and said, on paper, I wonder how often your brother is mistaken for the young woman who R. Kelly allegedly urinated on. Now, it was meant to be quite ironic. I noticed the error in my ways and the lack of humor. So I tweeted you after that and asked to be unblocked, but it hasn't yet happened.
Well, to be fair, it was kind of hard for me to see that you asked to be unblocked because you were already blocked. But by the way, in your Google, did you ever learn about the great Patrice Lumumba, African statesman?
No, but the last name would be a big reason as to why I couldn't find him with Jones.
Yeah, that's cool, but I'm just telling you, you should go, like, that's where you should have got your learn on, but we're going to put you on hold. You're not the only person out here that made a mistake. Shannon, how do you think that was going to end? Like, when he did that at first? I guess I could have asked him, but, like, how do you think that was going to end?
I noticed he listens. He has to listen because his wording, he chose his words very carefully. Like, I've seen the error in my ways. And I knew right when I sent it that I had made a mistake. Like, wow, he's really kissing up. Good job on your part, Kyle.
That is Kyle from Philly. Contestant number 2 on Unblock Me, Bo. Let's go out to Marcus from Kansas City. Marcus, what'd you do?
How you doing, Bo? Thank you for taking the call. I believe it was the 2012 Fiesta Bowl, O-State and Stanford. And I think you made a comment about how corny the O-State uniforms looked. They had like a little sheriff star on them or something. And I think my reply was to the extent was in agreement with you, but I was trying to be a little sarcastic and joking. You know, they're the sheriffs, they won the game, whatever. But that was pretty much it. It was just a joke about the corniness. I mean, that's my alma mater, too. So
what
was
the joke, Marcus? What was the joke, Marcus? We normally find that when people are being general like this, there's a reason. Hold on, Shannon, do you have the joke?
Yeah, the tweet was, it's like the sheriff's badge, you know, because we have a Cowboys mascot, Wild West, ? And you said you don't say, #blocked.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah. So basically, like, they're the Cowboys and they had a badge, and you felt like you needed to explain that to me.
No, I felt like I was agreeing with you that they could have been a little more inventive. It was pretty corny with the uniform.
So
I'm with you.
Shannon, you don't seem to think that he's with
you. I'm just checking the way you said it. It didn't come off as that. Like, you could say that now, but that's not what it said back in 2012, January 3rd, 2012. So.
Yeah. Marcus, we're going to put you back on hold. The committee going to have a little bit of a discussion on that. Shannon, you always know this is all like, I really wasn't doing nothing. And then we go find out.
Like, and we were talking with Nuno when we were soliciting calls today for the Unblock Me. A lot of folks out there, well, I don't know why. I don't know why it was blocked. So then, of course, I searched the person's name in Twitter, and a lot of them have deleted whatever tweet that they sent.
They sure
that got
do.
them blocked.
They sure do delete. I don't know what you mean. Why'd you delete it, homie? Now, did we lose our last contestant? Oh, man, what happened to our buddy in Long Island? We kind of like neighbors now. We also had somebody. Yeah, we're going to call that dude back in. We also had somebody who wanted to get unblocked because he said something about Babyface. Obviously, did he say something about Babyface? Did he say something about me and my distaste for Babyface?
And see, that comes up a lot. Whenever we do Unblock Me, Bo, there always seems to be at least one person out there that says, can you please unblock me? #Unblock Me, Bo, on Twitter. Can you please unblock me because of what I said about Babyface?
I just don't see why Babyface the hill they want to die on, because they know that I don't have a sense of humor about this Babyface thing. Babyface is wildly overrated, and if you think that Babyface is a songwriter, you wouldn't know a good song if it kicked you in the crotch. That's how I feel about this when it comes to Babyface. And they know I feel this way. Why would you fight this fight?
Which is pretty hard for me because I'm a Babyface fan. But, but understanding after speaking with you, going back and actually listening to the lyrics and reading some of the lyrics of the song, I was like, wait a minute, that's a bit simplistic.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it might be a dope song, but it wasn't very deep when you.
And I allow you to be a Babyface fan. Just don't come bring this drama to me. I have established where I'm standing. I ain't trying to change nobody's mind. I'm not telling you what you should think. I'm telling you what it is. That's what I'm doing. There's always somebody that always wants to be a problem. Who was that? Sean and Riley? That was Babyfacing. That was him. We got Sean and Riley here. Sean, man. Babyface, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, because I thought that you were underestimating Babyface's ability.
I wasn't. Have you helped? Like you don't realize that Babyface out here spitting that whack? Like you didn't take no time to go back and listen to them Babyface songs and be like, how long did it take him to write that? 1 minute, maybe 2.
No, he's a very underrated artist.
You're playing the unblock me game all the wrong way.
Sean's out here playing Please Block Me Bo.
Yes, that is exactly what he is doing. You got Babyface is underrated. Who's underrating Babyface other than maybe me?
Not like intentionally.
Yeah, see, Sean, we're going to put you on hold. Shannon, can I tell you everything you need to know about Babyface? All right, so check this out. You remember the first 112 album, right? First 112 album is banging, right? Did you know that Boyz II Men wanted to use, like, Now That We're Done, for example? That was supposed to be on the second Boyz II Men album. It said the record label was like, nah, we want you to sing some Babyface songs. Yes. Name one of them Babyface songs on there that's as dope as what's on the first 112 album. See, that's what happens.
All right, well, it seems as though Sean essentially has eliminated himself here.
Yeah. I don't even know why he's here.
So the two contestants here on this edition of Unblock Me Bo are Kyle from Philly and Marcus from Kansas City.
All right, now Marcus from Kansas City is the one who I found to be condescending, talking about their silly little sheriff badges, making the whole team look like 5-0, which is very difficult to explain to your friends in some neighborhoods. Your man Kyle from Philly, what was his mistake?
He looked up your brother's name.
That's right. He kept asking about my brother, like, being urinated on. Do I have that right?
Something with R. Kelly.
Yeah. Details, schmetails. But basically, he asked me about whether my brother had been urinated on. All right. So I got to go with the dude whose squad rides with 5-0 or the dude who. Okay, Nuno. Put Marcus. No. Put Kyle. Do I want Kyle? Yeah. Put Kyle from Philly on the line. Hey, Kyle.
I made the cut.
Actually, no, you lost. Thanks.
Oh,
I was just gonna let you know. Next time, just don't joke about people getting urinated on. You're out of here. Peace out, Kyle. Thanks for stopping by the booth. Marcus from Kansas City, congratulations. You get a T-shirt.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I really do.
And now for the part that Shannon loves, where I ask for his Twitter handle and you make me unblock him. Oh, we can't find it. Oh, maybe you get unblocked, maybe you don't. Who wins today? I do.
I have it right here.
Damn it, what is it?
All right, it is AGUILLA 112. He actually plays homage to 112 in his Twitter account.
Now is it to the group 112 or to the club 112? Because the club 112 greater than the dude 112.
Well,
anyway.
Go ahead. Let me see you do it. I want to see you type it in, and I want to see you unblock that dude. And I will actually hit him up. I will DM him, and he will get an official The Right Time with Bomani Jones Unblock Me Bo T-shirt.
All right, it's done. It's done. You happy? Can you see it?
Good.
Give him his T-shirt. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, the preseason AP college football poll is out. Bama's number one, but are they really number one? We'll talk to Booger McFarland of ESPN on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. That's the also song of the day, Shake You Down by Gregory Abbott. I had never looked at a picture of Gregory Abbott until Shannon told me to look him up. And I looked him up, and he's like Philip Michael Thomas with contacts. Like, that's him.
He talk about Trey Songz and the Mr. Steal Your Girl. Gregory Abbott, he just starts the song, I'm watching you from across the room.
Yes.
Rap.
By telepathy. He coming to snatch him. Also, song of the day is brought to you by Hum. Hum by Verizon is the technology that connects you to your car. Learn more at hum.com. All right, preseason AP college football poll came out today. Alabama is number one in the poll. Ohio State number 2. Florida State is number 3. On the line to talk to us about it is Booger McFarland. Now, Booger, how much stock do you take in the preseason polls?
Not a whole lot, Bo, because a lot of this is based on reputation, just like Alabama. They got a lot of questions, but because of Nick Saban's reputation, we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. So nobody has seen any of these teams play. They're all scrimmaging behind closed doors. So this is just what we think. So I'm not placing a lot of stock in it.
So where are your questions when it comes to Alabama?
Well, I think the obvious question marks have to be what we saw last. And we saw a defense that got tired. They got physically beaten against Clemson. We saw a quarterback, although he did lead a drive down the field to take the lead against Clemson, he was wildly inaccurate a lot during that game. And as a passer, he never developed. Bring in a new offensive coordinator, the third one within a calendar year. How's that going to gel? You lose a lot of guys on defense. Jonathan Allen, Tim Williams, Ryan Anderson, like all those big dogs are gone. And Alabama's talented, but we haven't seen those new guys step up and play. So I think those are where the question marks are.
All right, talking to Boogie McFarland of ESPN here on The Right Time. And with Jalen Hurts, I wonder, are we being a bit too hard on him? Because we've almost forgotten that he was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, but how much stock are we putting in awards, though, Bo? I mean, he had a phenomenal season. Like, he threw for almost 3,000 yards, rushed for right under 1,000 yards. Like, the numbers he put up were outstanding. But in the moments they needed him most, Alabama was really scared to throw the football. So, like, you can look at the numbers and stats, you know, just like bikinis. They show some things, but not all things. And he won the SEC Offensive Player of the Year a lot on those statistics and some of the meaningful moments he had early in the season. I just know that throughout the season, his ability to develop as a passer wasn't there. And Nick Saban said that Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian kind of coddled him a little bit. They didn't bring him along. So, yeah, we can say we're giving him a pass. You can blame it on other people, but there's no doubt he didn't develop his first year.
All right, we're talking to Boogie McFarland of ESPN here on The Right Time. Now, Alabama's going to play Florida State the first weekend of the year. Florida State is ranked number 3. Now, when you look at Florida State, what worries you about them?
It's the offensive line. And I think, you know, DeAndre Francois took a beating last year, Bo. I mean, he got beat, and he just kept getting back up. And I think he earned the respect of not only his head coach but his teammates. Now, all those guys come back. And it's funny, Bo, one of the things we like to talk about as analysts is, man, they got a lot of guys back. Well, if those guys are bad guys, that means you got a lot of bad players back. Okay, Florida State is hoping that the offensive line they have back has developed and are now good players. So I'm looking forward to see if that offensive line is better. If it is, Bo, here's what I'll say. If Florida State's offensive line is better, they're one of 3 or 4 teams that can compete, play, and beat Alabama. I think you throw Ohio State, you throw USC, you throw Florida State in that mix. Those 3 teams are as talented as Alabama, and they can beat them. They all have questions, and Florida State is their offensive line.
Now, how worried are you for Florida State not having Dalvin Cook this year?
Well, I mean, you'd be worried, except they got a guy named Cam Akers who is supposed to be legit and maybe not as good as Dalvin Cook early on, but has the talent to be that. Like, when you're at these programs, Bo, like, you know, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Florida State, these teams aren't rebuilding, man. They're reloading. So as soon as one guy leaves, the next guy jumps in. And Cam Akers is a guy out of Mississippi. He was highly recruited. He's a 5-star running back. He enrolled early at Florida State in the spring. So he's already went through a spring. He's probably going to be the starter game 1, if not soon thereafter. And I don't think they're going to miss a beat because word on the street is he's just as explosive as Dalvin Cook was.
All right, we're talking to Boogie McFarland of ESPN here on The Right Time. Now, with the Big Ten, we're looking at Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan probably at the top of that conference. What do you think about that conference this year?
I think right now, Bo, that conference is really it's really on top. Let's take a look at the AP top 10, since that's what we're talking about. And to me, the AP top 10 kind of mirrors college football this year. Think about it. You got Oklahoma at 7, Oklahoma State at 10. Those are 2 teams out of the Big 12 which we think are going to compete. Now, let's go to the Big 10. The Big 10 has Ohio State, Penn State, and Wisconsin both. You mentioned Michigan, but Wisconsin has a schedule that sets up very favorably. And I think the Big 10 right now, if you look at the AP top 10, and even if you look throughout the season, the Big 10 can say right now, today, we're the best conference in America. Now, is it going to finish that way at the end of the season? We don't know. But I do think right now with Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and as you mentioned, Michigan, I think they have a chance to have 4 teams that possibly they can have 1 or 2 get into the playoffs.
So what has changed? Because we're not that far removed from the Big Ten being a clear step behind the SEC. Even some could have said the Big 12, and now suddenly they're right there on top.
I think it's the emergence of Penn State, which is why James Franklin got a lot of money. He came in an adverse situation. We were still thinking about Jerry Sandusky, Paterno, and all that, and he's done well. He's brought Penn State back. They won the Big Ten last year, Bo, and I think Penn State being back helps the perception of the Big Ten and Michigan. Okay, Michigan played in a big-time bowl game last year. So when you have what I would like to call the foundation of a conference, like in the SEC, the foundation of the SEC is Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Auburn. Like when you get those teams that are good like that, then the conference is up. For the Big Ten, it's Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin. Like when those big four are good, now the entire perception of the conference changes.
Now, before we let you go, I have to ask you about LSU. How are you looking at the first full season of the Orgeron era?
Well, the honeymoon is over. I know that. You come in. I'm going to just be honest, Bo. Like when you come in as an interim guy, you can do no wrong. Well, now that they've taken that one word from your title and now you're the head coach, notice what's going on this offseason. Okay, Orgeron's been questioned about the satellite camps. He's been questioned about closing practice off to the media. You didn't hear those things last year. And so I think for LSU, you can boil LSU's season this year and pretty much most years down to this. LSU will always have talent to win 8 or 9 games. Their season comes down to 3 games. And this year, those 3 games are Florida, Alabama, and Auburn. How LSU performs in those 3 games will ultimately determine whether they win 8 games or whether they win 11 games. And if Orgeron can figure out a way to go 2-1 in that 3-game stretch, I think he'll be on his way to a 10-win season. And depending on how everything falls out, I mean, he could be playing for an SEC championship. But there's no doubt about it. LSU wants wins. They didn't fire Les Miles because he didn't win 8 games. They fired Les Miles because he couldn't win the big games and win enough. And I think Orgeron is going to have to feel that pressure too.
All right, that's Booger McFarland. Check him out on our college football coverage here at ESPN. My man, thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you through the season.
Anytime, Bo. Always here for you, buddy.
All right, man. I appreciate it. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, Blake Griffin did something that's going to make NBA fans so happy. Find out what that is on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. NFL fans will do almost anything to help their team win. Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the NFL, created lucky bags for select NFL teams this season. They participated in team traditions with the hope that doing so would bring luck to each team. They raised the 12th man flag for the Seahawks bag, waved the terrible towel for the Steelers bags, and gave Broncos bags a mile-high salute. Current NFL players Dak Prescott, Jadeveon Clowney, Joe Flacco, and Aaron Donald all participated in making their team's bags lucky. Visit Tostitos.com to see how the Tostitos made your team's lucky bags and pick up one at a store near you.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Booger McFarland of ESPN for joining us the last segment. The Right Time is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Take a synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So Blake Griffin was on the View from the Cheap Seats podcast. Blake Griffin's an interesting guy. He tends to say funny things. He might be the best actor in the NBA. In fact, he got like a Peyton Manning sort of quality to him, except, well, Blake does seem a little bit herbish in real life. Like Peyton Manning just figured out how to like totally harness his herb. Blake actually like does funny, cool guy stuff on TV. It's a little different. Anyway, here is Blake Griffin talking about what he thinks LeBron James is going to do this offseason.
Honestly, I don't see him coming to L.A., period.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, I think something is brewing with him and his group of guys. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think something's brewing, and I think they're going to try to make that work.
Shannon, what did he say? What did he say?
All right, process of elimination here, okay? If he says he doesn't think that LeBron is going to L.A. and he's trying to do something with his boys, I'd imagine that's the Banana Boat crew. If they're not going to do it in L.A.
Cleveland?
They're not going to do it in Cleveland.
Come back to Miami? Where are you thinking, Shannon?
It's only one place they can do it.
Where is that place?
Banana Boat crew is taking that boat all the way up to MSG. They're playing in the Garden. They're bringing it home to the Mecca.
Really? Really? Blake Griffin is out here saying that he thinks that LeBron James would wind up perhaps in New York City. And I don't know how plugged in Blake Griffin is. I don't know how much information Blake Griffin has, but I am personally hoping that this rumor begins to spread like wildfire. Oh, there it is. There it is, Shannon. I didn't know you had control of the music today.
It's magically happened. I did it with no hands. So wait a minute. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high here, but I mean,
no, get them up. Get them up.
Okay, settle down. All right. So if it's not L.A. and we try to get everybody together, and I mean Melo's still there. I mean, we know he's having these problems now, but if he knows a year away that the Knicks could possibly get LeBron and the boys, I mean, we can make this happen, right?
Get your hopes up, Shannon. Get your hopes up. It's okay to dream. Dare to dream, Shannon. Dare to dream. Dare to dream. New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of, whatever the hell that means. Get your hopes up.
Look, anything is possible. If we can get Bomani Jones to live in a place that's cold, then we can get the Banana Boat crew to come together to play in MSG. I'm just saying.
Yes, I want all Knicks fans to get their hopes up. I want you to believe LeBron to New York, it could happen. It is possible. I believe in the dream. Shannon, you believe in the dream. It'll be so much better if I live in New York and LeBron is here. But you know what would be even better than if I lived in New York and LeBron wound up on the Knicks? You know what would be even better than that, Shannon?
What's up?
Getting all the Knicks fans' hopes up about getting LeBron, and he shows up wearing the blue and orange shoes, and he balls out at Madison Square Garden, and everybody gets so excited, only for him to step on your hearts again. Just like that drum roll right there.
I mean, you can turn that down now. You can turn that down now.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that would be
Appreciate
the
it.
best if we got all the signs that he might come to New York and you guys got excited like you would over a 43-win team, because nobody gets excited about 43 wins like Knicks fans, especially if that team has won 5 out of 6. And then you get to thinking that you're going to get LeBron.
I noticed something.
LeBron doesn't come.
I noticed something interesting in your wording there. You didn't say you wanted this to happen. You just said you wanted this rumor to spread.
Yes.
That it was going to happen.
Yes, that's it. I want everybody to think about it. I want us to get some sauces. Your sauces. I want our sauces to get out here and tell us about how LeBron has been looking for schools in New York City.
Yo, B, on the humble, I'm telling you right now, if you put LeBron with Porzingis, forget about it, B. It's nothing. Early.
Son, I want it so bad. Let's get this going. At every turn, I'm going to go through. I need to get one of them nerds that know the salary cap to tell me all the things that the Knicks will have to do in order to make the space. I think it could be done. We need somebody to send a rumor about how the Knicks are going to let Melo wear the hoodie during the season so he doesn't want to go anywhere. We need that. We need that.
Can we talk about Hoodie Melo for a second?
Yes.
Like, this has taken on its own persona, so much so that I think he got a ranking in NBA 2K now.
Yes.
Like, Melo's ranking is so much lower than Hoodie Melo.
Yes.
That is really, really something.
Yes. Also, can we start a rumor about how Chris Paul and James Harden already don't like each other, so that Chris Paul will look to opt out of his deal at the end of the season? Can we get all those things to go?
Start a rumor about a team that's willing to take on Joakim Noah's awful contract. Can we find somebody to start that, please?
Yes, let's get that all going. LeBron to New York, LeBron to New York, LeBron to hell no. That's how I want it to go.
No, as funny as that is and unrealistic, but hearing it today, because I heard the guys at Lebertard talking about it, I kind of got chills, though. Like, just imagine them, because for some reason, the last week or so, I'm seeing a lot of LeBron James photoshopped the Knicks jerseys. For some reason, it's like out there. I don't know why.
Oh,
and so
really?
You get that kind of
it sounds like somebody knows.
You get that 2010 tingle. That's all. It just starts coming back.
Shannon, it sounds like somebody knows. Maybe somebody has heard something, and that's why all these photoshops are out here in these streets. Maybe somebody's got some inside information. I mean, LeBron does love to play in Madison Square Garden, does he not? Does he not? We know he looks good in that blue and orange. Does he not? Does he not?
As much as we joke about this, there are Knicks fans, though, that are dead serious,
Hold on. I thought about the best way to do this. What would make this the best is everybody gets so hype about LeBron coming to New York, and then in the end, he doesn't come to New York. And you know what else that would mean? That means that y'all would get so hype about LeBron coming to New York that it would mess things up with Kyrie Irving, and y'all wouldn't get him neither.
Why you gotta be playing like that, man?
I mean, I'm just saying, if y'all want LeBron, right? Y'all really want LeBron, right? Y'all want LeBron to come. You going to get Kyrie, even though Kyrie will stop LeBron from coming, even though you know LeBron wants to play in the Mecca. You know LeBron likes to play in the Mecca. You've already convinced yourself that LeBron loves the Mecca. You going to take Kyrie and mess up LeBron's trip to the Mecca? You going to do that? You don't want Kyrie no more, do you? Do you? Do you? Do you want him, Shannon? Do you want Kyrie now? Or do you want LeBron? Y'all are New Yorkers. Y'all are going to settle for Kyrie when you could have LeBron? Are you going to settle, Shannon?
I mean, we get a chance to have LeBron, regardless of how many years he has in, we'll take LeBron.
You don't want Kyrie, do you? You don't want Kyrie. You don't want Kyrie.
I mean, it's cool and everything. I mean, Kelly has some hits, but, I mean, it ain't
That's right. That's right. You don't want Kyrie. You don't want Kyrie. It is going to be so great with the end. You don't have either of them. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, we'll catch you up on what you haven't heard today, including everybody out here snitching. You're listening to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Booger McFarland of ESPN for joining us in the 6 o'clock Eastern hour. Thanks to Herm Edwards for joining us in the 5 o'clock Eastern hour. Thanks to a cantankerous Peter Vesey for joining us in the 4 o'clock Eastern hour. Remember, if you miss anything live, check out the Right Time podcast, available on the ESPN app. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. All right, Shannon, what we miss out on today?
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, and according to that one, Peter Vesey, the Indiana Pacers.
He was salty, by the way. Can we just take a brief moment to? He was not thrilled.
A bit of sodium there. With,
no Keith Hernandez, but still not thrilled.
A level of sodium there. Well, he had reported earlier this weekend that the Pacers believe that the Lakers tampered with Paul George in their recruitment of George. And if you haven't heard, here's Bomani Jones earlier today discussing the Pacers and their snitching job.
Tampering. It's this thing that happens in the NBA. It happens with everybody pretty much. That being said, tampering is very, very difficult to prove, right? I mean, this is just one of those things. There's so many different levels of tampering that go on, man. People got enough agents and everything else. And part of it with the agent game is team got to talk to an agent just to do regular business, and then while they on the phone, you know what I'm saying, we can't talk about this, but if there was this one thing, you know what I'm saying, and then and everything else. So you wind up in that situation. Now the Lakers have themselves a little interesting issue, and their thing is Magic is the man who's in charge there. Magic a little bit new to the game, at least in this way. And Magic, I mean, this is Magic on Jimmy Kimmel Live in April.
You started this job, did they sit you down and say, okay, so here are some things you have to know? You can't do an interview and say you want the specific player.
That's right.
And did you have to learn?
Yeah, I had to go to school. I had to go to CBA school, salary cap school, and tampering school.
What constitutes tampering? Like if you're on vacation and you run into Paul George, are you not allowed to speak to him?
No, we're going to say hi because we know each other.
I see.
You just can't say, hey, I want you to come to the Lakers, even though I'm going to be winking like... You know what that means, right?
You know what that means, right? Magic, I am sure that is not what they taught you in tampering school. I am positive in tampering school, they told you that the first rule of tampering school is don't talk about tampering school. And Magic went on TV talking about it. Also, on a related note, Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy Kimmel's on there sounding like the feds.
Yeah, I was kind of interested with his line of questioning there. I mean, come on, Jimmy.
Yeah, like you was trying to get Magic into some level of trouble. You ain't going to last in L.A. for very long, Jimmy. Yeah, you've been there about 15 years. But you ain't going to last out there very long out here trying to walk Magic up to the brink of doing something like this. Come on, man, you sound like the Fed. Anyway, the Pacers have lodged a complaint about the Lakers tampering with Paul George, which, I mean, we'd all have to acknowledge is snitching. And not only is it snitching, by the way, it's the pettiest form of snitching. And I say that it's the pettiest form of snitching because he's already gone. He doesn't play for y'all anymore. He plays for Oklahoma City. There's no chance that Paul George is going to wind up being an Indiana Pacer. He's not leaving the Pacers to go straight to the Lakers. So why y'all out here snitching, right? Like, never mind the fact that it's hard to prove this, but if they did do something and then Paul George couldn't go to the Lakers, you just out here like, are you doing this to Paul George or are you doing this to the Lakers? Which one?
All right, this Paul George topic brought up an interesting conversation with us off air. We wondered, since Shaquille O'Neal signed back in 1996, who's been the Lakers' best free agent acquisition? Not trade, but free agent. That was actually a Twitter poll that we had today on the ESPN Radio Twitter account. And the 4 selections were Ron Artest, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, or Derek Fisher. And we had over 3,000 folks vote, and 43% said Derek Fisher.
And a whole lot of people forgot that Derek Fisher signed with the Lakers as a free agent when he came back. And yes, they drafted him, but he came back.
Got a little confession there. I try not to be guy. I'm a bit of a know-it-all at times. And I knew that just putting Derek Fisher, people were going to say, well, they drafted Derek Fisher in the second round in 1996. Yeah, I know that. But he also came back as a free agent after he did a stint in Utah and
Golden State.
Yes.
Then he went to Utah.
Exactly. So Derek Fisher, 43%. Ron Artest, 39%. Karl Malone, 10%. And Gary Payton, which is surprising, only 8% for Gary Payton.
Who do you think Matt Barnes voted for? I'm just curious.
Nice. Really quickly, Bo, here. Buffalo, Anquan Boldin announced his retirement. He only been with the team 2 weeks. So my question to you, Bo, can you name 3 position players for the Buffalo Bills?
Tyrod Taylor. Like on offense, or can I get some defensive players?
I'll give you whatever you can name.
All right, I give you 3. Tyrod Taylor, Richie Incognito, and Marcel Darius.
Wait, Richie Incognito?
Doesn't he still play for them?
He does.
Woo!
I thought you were going to go with LaShawn McCoy, but Richie Incognito.
Forgot about him. He is still in the league.
Okay, and last and certainly not least, over the weekend, we lost comedian and civil rights activist Dick Gregory. He passed at the age of 84.
Look, man, the best Dick Gregory joke, you see people talk about this all the time, that Dick Gregory does a joke about going to a restaurant in the South. And he said that he ordered chicken, and they told him that they did not serve cutlets. And he said, that's good, because I don't eat cutlets. I'll have a whole chicken, please. And so the chicken comes, and he said the next line of the joke is that some Klansmen come in there and tell him that anything he does to that chicken is what they are going to do to him. And so he picks the chicken up and he kisses it. Right, Dick Gregory was the biggest name in stand-up comedy that there was. He took a 20-year break for that. Came back in the 90s to do it. Dude, Dick Gregory was so good at talking to people about things that they did not want to talk about, and so powerful and so commanding and so smart. This is an incredible dude that we lost. And I know a lot of people, you're probably too young to have any kind of grasp of why Dick Gregory matters. Just read up on him or read his autobiography, the name of which I cannot say on the air. It is absolutely worth your time. Also, rest in peace to Jerry Lewis. But, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Shannon Nuno, Cat, thanks so much. Jalen Jacoby coming up next.
Thanks for listening to The Right Time podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk.